vampire who was consumed by bloodlust in order to save a priest. And at that point, the doctor we met in the inn met up with us. Oh yeah, and we actually got our butts saved by a woman vampire who values her privacy, and that's all we know about her at the moment. And we took a little ride on a ship to a hospital where Jonathan was offered employment.
We'll have a word in my office later, Jonathan.
Come on, you bastard! You can do better than that! It's my turn!
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the seeds of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
Alright, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Please don't be euphemistic. Okay, apparently it is euphemistic.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
Yeah, I'm not gonna listen to the voice in my
Not
head.
tonight. Not like this. I will not take another
It is
life.
wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go. But no famished hunter can run for long.
Yeah, whatever voice is in my head, odds are I shouldn't be trusting it. Now, can I actually get him to the...
Whoa, I feel giddy.
Oh, because I mesmerized him. Well, hopefully he won't die. I mean, I got no clue. Yeah, I figure I'll play this one twice a day, once around noon and another probably sometime around 8 or 10 o'clock at night, Eastern Time. You know, I do have to chuckle that they blocked my path up the stairs as he's telling me, you know, oh, go inside. Yeah, how about you move with him first?
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Okay.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
Yeah, little wooden on the facial animations, honestly.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient
Oh,
we brought in.
jeez.
I get...
Okay,
What kind of man is Dr.
there we
Swansea?
go.
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
And
Okay.
Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Swansea?
Good evening, sir.
Nope.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Okay.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Okay, you've got him. Let's see.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Okay, that is actually a nice little system of doing it. Because it does force you to actually get to know the people before you can ask certain questions. You can't just go up to them and, you know, oh, how's, you know, pull a Johnny from the room with, so how's your sex life? And some things you just won't think to ask because you don't know them well enough to know that.
Pembroke is still standing after this epidemic. There's good reason to be proud.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr.
Oh,
Jonathan Reed,
jeez, this
the new
ain't a
surgeon
good
here at
angle.
Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really?
Okay, I need to...
It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised. But I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Oh, I'm
Goodbye,
sure.
nurse.
I'm sure there's a reason for that.
Good evening, Nurse Brett.
There we
Good
go.
evening,
That's a
Doctor.
better angle. So, yeah. Granted, I don't think anyone from the dev team will actually see this video, but that's something to
How are things?
look at.
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
So she's pretty devoted to her.
I'm not familiar with all
Work.
the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett.
I have a feeling
He
that
should be a
they are
standard for us
crushing
all
on each
here.
other a little bit.
If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
They're sweet on each other, at least. I have no idea what
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something,
Okay.
please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing
Fair
their
enough.
best.
I probably need a hint in order to unlock that one.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore,
Yep.
does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Eh? Nothing wrong with that.
Goodbye, nurse.
Oh boy. Kinda wish you did like a half run. Not quite this slow, but quicker than that.
Epidemic.
Okay, and now I have a
evening,
hint
Dr.
about
Tippett.
Tippets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
This one will get the best result, I think.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that.
Oh,
I will
shit.
have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Yep. Figured that might have the best result.
Goodbye, Doctor.
So hopefully they do, or hopefully he does ease off a little. You know, obviously keep himself at work, but...
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Alright, so there's Tippets again. Unmanned receptionist desk.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me.
So Tippets.
Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Oof.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk
Fair
about
enough.
all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt
Well,
we fought
medical
the same
officer,
war,
so-
sir. No offense.
Yeah, none taken.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
You're disgust on every street corner.
I think I might have to track down Tippets and... Oh yeah,
Good evening, Mr.
priest.
Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel... empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Okay, so he actually does realize that... Delaney. Oh yeah, the guy down at the bar who was drinking himself to, well, not to death, but...
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton?
Well,
I can't help but notice the cross.
Jonathan,
around
that's
your
an
neck.
obvious
I manage a
question.
night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks.
Oh,
And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
okay, so he's not a full-on priest.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
I really hope there's nothing sinister about him.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Ah, okay, so he doesn't realize William was a vampire. He thought he was just taken by madness.
Have you made friends
Fair enough.
since
you arrived?
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
That's actually good to know.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Fair enough.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show.
Wait,
with the assistance
I just
of
saw
her
Clay
minion,
Cox.
Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Trying to think.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Oh yeah, Batman. Where it's you know, criminals are a superstitious lot. Oh. Garlic and wooden stakes. Dear brothers, I must now draw your attention to a very important point. The use of garlic as a protection against vampires. Let's be crystal clear on the subject. Garlic will never protect you against those creatures. No matter how fresh, how strong, and how smelly, garlic is totally useless as a defense. I can never say enough how damaging that novel of Bram Stoker has been. Yes, of course, population of Slavic countries place garlic cloves in coffins. Yes, of course, inhabitants of Santorini Island hang garlic on their windows. There would be so much to write about this place, and someday soon. I hope to go back to this island to further explore its occult tradition. But that is not to protect the living from the devil. It is to tell the dead that they are aware of their malevolence. It is a symbol, nothing more and nothing less. So please, by all means, yes, wear garlic, show garlic, hang garlic, and tell the shadows that you are not afraid. But if you are looking for supernatural protection, you'll have to search much deeper than into the forgotten secrets of the occult tradition. For here is the truth, my fellow brothers. Garlic does not repel vampire, but all the fresh plants will hurt them. It is as if their body could not stand the presence of botanical elements. I have seen an enraged vulp flee when whacked with a rose. Yes, a simple rose. I have witnessed a violent econ fall down and beg for mercy when struck by a wooden stake. I don't know why it is so effective, and I would give my left arm to find the answer to that mystery, but the truth remains nevertheless. Vampires are very sensitive to fresh herbs, plants, and woods. So, I do have to wonder, why is that just randomly laying in a hospital? Oh.
Good evening.
Is this going to be Harriet?
I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of insanity. And you think it is I who am delusional.
How do you know for sure that it's Cotard syndrome, unless, well, maybe he doesn't feel that
you
way.
must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
I'm gonna have to check
The
that out.
staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Oh, new citizen investigation is available. Thelma Howcroft is a delusional patient at the Pembroke Hospital who is convinced that she is already dead, or undead, and trapped inside a rotting body. Despite her obvious mental issues, the woman claims she is being spied on by some men and women who want to hunt her down because she is a vampire. Is she referring to the Guard of Prywin? I can't take the risk of having these hunters investigate around the hospital. Maybe I should spy on them and protect Thelma Howcroft from those hunters. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely an engaging little game.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being...
Maybe I'll find out something about
Is that not enough for you,
Elwood.
puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, it was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Okay, at this point, she's probably just, yeah, mentally disturbed.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Damn. The pain.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Required and... here we
How
are.
close are you to Miss Hawcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
In short, to make sure that she only bites
You
him
do
as opposed
realize
to someone
she's
who's...
mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
The writing in this is very good.
Goodbye for now.
Alright, let's see what...
Hello again, Dr. Reed. I feel better already. Can I go soon?
Okay, no hints out of him.
Goodbye, Mr.
Or no hint-locked dialogue, anyway.
Fear and disgust.
Oh.
Time has lost its effect on me. But the suffering continues.
Daily routine.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that
Okay,
cruel,
so even
Doctor.
in her insanity, she does still have a moral code. That's definitely good to know.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
I'll leave you, Mr.
Time has lost its effect on me. But the suffering
Okay,
continues.
so let's see. 53 meters to that spot. So, yeah, I'm gonna head outside and see what I can find in the garden. Even before heading inside, which might not... Oh. Do not cough in public. Prevent disease. Careless spitting, sneezing, coughing, spread influenza. Spread by droplets sprayed from nose and throat. Do not cough in public. And that's why in Japan, one of the biggest things they do tends to be the... Like, they wear the surgical masks. Huh. Oh, I'm not sure whether that was an open window or not. But, yeah, that way, coughing or
Thelma
sneezing in
Howcroft
public...
said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir.
Oh,
Especially
from
if
India.
they're supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why is the... Yeah.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
That is
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic.
Ah.
Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister
Oh.
came here a few nights ago. You were missing.
Yeah, that's
and
a
she
hell
was
of a
looking
punch.
for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many
Yeah, that's awkward.
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Oh, he mentioned he served in the war.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
I haven't met Milton Hooks.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Very philosophical.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
I like this guy.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
70 shillings, opium, and codeine. Okay, that's locked.
I understand you must be very angry about this unfair situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
Your city needs you. Every life saved by efficient medical aid is a blow struck at the heart of the flu epidemic. Volunteers make the difference. Inquire at the nearest appointments office of the Ministry of Labor and National Service or write to 15 Kingsway, London. Okay, that's locked. So is this...
Good evening, Doctor.
Hooks?
I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed.
Nope.
Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Apparently...
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Nothing there.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your
Well,
side.
that's more than a little flattering.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories at first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Alright, no successes in blood transfusions.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Other citizen investigation?
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my
good.
patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
Oh boy.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Aykroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Goodbye, Doctor.
Okay, so... where? Here's the... Nope, that's not a garden. That is definitely not a garden. It's the garden near the morgue, is what she said. But it's on the hospital grounds, I'd assume.
I hope that might help.
Oh. Hospital full, please. Oh, jeez, that is callous. I mean, even if the intent is, you know, is well, you know, making sure people don't come into the hospital where they might catch something. Public notice: prevent Spanish flu. Cover each cough and sneeze with handkerchief. Walk to work. Do not spit. Drink from your own cup. Avoid crowds. If taken ill, go to bed and send for a doctor. And instructions on how to make a mask, issued by the LLC Board of Health. Okay, so where is the garden, is my question. Because she said she tended to go to the garden near the morgue. Oh, here we are.
to stop it!
October, from Guard Prime Command Post to East End Patrols. Object: Vampire activity, hospital, survey, investigate. 3 days ago, one of our new recruits heard a rumor about the presence of a female vampire hiding in the Pembroke Hospital, London East End. All we have is her first name, Thelma. Your mission is to discreetly go there and observe any suspicious activity concerning said leech, then report directly back to us, and we will decide what action should be taken. Oh boy. So yeah, I have to wipe them out in order to protect the patient. So, they actually do a really good job of making you a lot more... Oh, jeez, I broke that without meaning to. Let's see, so... I'm assuming... Nope, here's the people. Yep, they suspect she's an actual vampire. And I think I'll hold off on that particular... Like, at least I took out the... Oh. Yep. At least I took out the immediate threat, so that's good. I'm kind of assuming that if I didn't take them out, she would be found dead one night. Oh.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right.
Apparently,
but for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Gotcha.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
I understand. Don't get riled.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Saying something like that to a vampire is just a really
Goodbye
poor
for now,
choice
Mr.
of words.
I'll see you later.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Oh, here we go. And now I
What
have
can
more
I do for you,
information.
Doctor?
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Nurse.
I have new information, but no action.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Here we are. Oh yeah, that was
Goodbye,
the
Doctor.
guy that was kind of fawning over me a bit. Oh. I'm
Good
guessing.
evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed, yes, I've been informed about
Yep.
your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swans's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Gee, I wonder who the person that everyone is kind of slagging off on it might be.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Okay. So, wait, he wants to go with leeches then? I really hope not.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon. And it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative. It is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
They've done a really good job of making even people like him relatable. And I'm sure that if you talk with any of the Prywin people, their motivations would be made clear.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time.
Alright, going back to...
Be sure we're making a difference.
There we are.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening.
Okay, need to readjust my positioning.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
There we go.
And good evening.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Goodbye, Doc.
Reads me like a book. She'll never keep anything from her. I will not let
It's
you down,
locked,
my
all right.
boy.
Now the weird thing is, that door was actually unlocked before, so I'm not sure why it got relocked. Another prevent disease poster.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm.
Tell me, Thelma, what do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill. I saw his terrible wounds heal as his victim died. And then I knew I was saved.
You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes. And it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
You have no idea what problems your claim could cause if heard by the wrong people, Miss Howcroft. You must stop this nonsense now.
Why fear the truth? Strange things live in the dark, Dr. Reed. Strange and ancient beings that were here before this island even had a name.
Tell me.
I saw one.
You mean...
Yes.
You have...
Why fear...
Okay. Thelma has witnessed a vampire kill a prey. Oh, okay.
I'll
Now
leave you.
I might be able to get more out of Elwood then. See whether he might have spotted the same thing. Doubtful, but...
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Doctor.
Nope.
Goodbye.
You disgust on every street corner.
In the name of mercy, they depend on you. Nurses are needed now.
Daily routine.
And the address to inquire. Oh.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
There we go. Jeez. And right next to the hospital, too. Seriously? Okay, they're immune to range then. Come on. So is that it? Or are there more? Uh-oh. Milton and Pippa forever. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Let's see. All right. Oh, broken down wall here. Actual bullets as well as shotgun shells, and I'm getting way off course here. Alright, so that's under quarantine, as is that. Alright, I'm heading back into the hospital. Well, with the coat, it's not as noticeable with the weird stance as he runs. But without the coat, oh, it looks like he's basically trying to hold his pants up by using his thighs. That's the only way I can think to describe it. Oh. Wrong area. Wait a minute. Where the... This door, I'm thinking. No? Huh. Okay, apparently it's off to the right here then. Yeah, Pembroke Hospital. Just Okay, here's the morgue. Oh, this is the front entrance, isn't it? Okay, this is where I went through before. Let's see. Alright, so the owner is somewhere around here.
As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Oh, no, the owner's pretty good ways off, apparently. Whoop. Okay, there we go. Let's see. LJ... Nope, not working. Oop. Oh, way down in the docks. Okay, so... back to wrong target it is. But first and foremost, heading upstairs to... Actually... have I talked to her yet?
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Okay, kind of that
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish
1,000-yard
flu won't
stare
last
there.
forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. I don't have any idea when this epidemic will be over.
And even worse, I'm pretty sure the Spanish flu was actually a pandemic.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
I don't like your attitude, Nurse Hawkins.
I
Pessimism
wish she
can be as
wasn't quite
lethal
as
as
firm
the
about
epidemic in times like these.
Sorry, Doctor.
Just a second.
I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
Oh. Well, I took a look at the caller ID and yeah, probably not actually for me.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Consider
Well,
this
not
another
well.
spoofed number.
Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Wait,
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis?
was that the wallet
Is
I
it
found?
just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Okay. Which might not necessarily be
Goodbye,
sweet
Miss
on him,
Hawkins.
but... she at least sympathizes with him, from the sound of it. Okay, finally going to the second floor. It just occurred to me, I've spent an hour just on the first floor talking to people. Hey, Dr. Swansea's office. Okay. Okay, there's my room down there. Oh, hey, there's a third floor. But locked. Or actually, not even locked, it just won't open at all. Oh, yes, that one's locked as well. Or that one is actively locked. Pardon me. Used hacksaw. Oh, that's a good one. See Elwood's medical file. Thomas Elwood, male, age 28. I don't think that's supposed to be like that. Status convalescence, state of release TBD. The patient's face has been heavily burnt and disfigured by a bomb during the war. Even with the use of the strongest sedatives, he affirms to regularly endure severe pain from the wounds, as if the flames are still burning under the skin, he says. Examinations of the secretized tissues show no trace of inflammation, infection, or swelling. Scars are clean. Could it be a case of persisting nerve damage? The patient never ceases to blame himself for his disfiguration. Could it be a case of the guilt of the survivor? Phantom pain manifesting as a punishment for not dying with his comrades. Bottle of gin and small bottle. Dr. Reed. Oh, wait. What? Why? I'm sorry, but why on earth would he have the nameplate already? I mean, that should have been added like after a day or two, because, I mean, for one thing, it'd be low priority with conditions like this. And a bit more to the point.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
I mean, they simply wouldn't know he's coming there until he stumbled across him.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave.
Oh.
It was an accident.
Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, first and foremost, what actually happened?
What really happened then?
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Oof.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Beauty is not everything, Mr. Elwood.
Says Mr. Pretty Face.
Oh, come on. Damn it.
Why do you...
I was...
Why lie?
Come on.
Beauty.
Says Mr.
Why lie? Beauty.
Damn it. Okay, how far back do I have to go for... Oh, boy. I'm gonna save scum that one, unfortunately. Oh, God, I don't even know how far back that's gonna take me. Okay, I'll stop the stream here. I'll do everything and get myself back up to speed before doing anything else. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time when I get back to Mr. Thomas Elwood, and I'm hoping that it's... Oh, crap. I think it auto-saved. Yeah, it probably auto-saved right as I talked to him. Or... maybe no? Well, no. I mean, it kind of had... I mean, the timestamp was such that it probably was. But then again, I mean, why did it drop me off here? Yeah, the current time is 1:30. It said the save was for 1:39. Unless that was... no, because I didn't do it this morning. Oh yeah, the entrance is over this way. let's... Actually, that's the best way to do it, is look at the collectibles I've... Or, actually, no, the people. Hint lost. Damn it. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna have to restart the entire game because I don't want that to happen. So, thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time, and it's gonna be a little while before I... Granted, I'm hoping I can just kind of blitz through everything, but thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.